I was in sixth form, and the teacher was telling us that we had to be ready for the exams. And I suddenly realized I didn't know the date of the exam. I thought I'd better go find out. So I made my way into the chemistry building at Newcastle University, and there were the list of all the exams. And I realized the exam I was preparing for was the next day. And I thought, but I don't know anything. I can't remember anything. My mind's a complete blank. And I was beginning to think, I'm going to have to get out sitting this exam somehow. I'm going to have to put it off. And as I thought that, Bishop Hugh Lindsay came up to me and said, why are you delaying? I'm not so sure whether we're going to ordain you after all. I was now in Ushall. And I was thinking, how am I going to get around this? And then the next thing he said to me was, I think we'll send you to St. Michael's in Elsick. You can be parish priest there. And I then had a kind of, in my mind, a recollection of the presbytery, and it was a coal mine with long corridors, black walls, no light. And then I woke up. I can tell you roughly when I had this dream. It was sometime in May or June of 2024. It was what you might call an anxiety dream. And I think, as I reflect upon it, it was to do with my coming to Billingham. It wasn't that I didn't want to come to Billingham, it was just that, you know, when you have all the myriad of things to do, as you leave a house, you have to pack up and all of that sort of stuff. You have to leave the parish in such a way that as your successor steps in, everything will be tickety-boo. And then there was the thing of moving and settling into a new place. And I suppose all of the anxieties that you have through the years, they can pile into an anxiety dream. And it can be to do with exams, it can be to do with, well, for somebody who becomes a priest, ordination dates, stuff like that, appointments. I remember dreaming earlier about being sent to St. Michael's. It was when I was in Jesmond, and I knew that my time in that parish was coming to an end. And St. Michael's was the likely place, I thought. But the presbytery was notorious that you couldn't live in it. It's still regarded to this day as uninhabitable, literally. They won't put a priest in the presbytery at St. Michael's in Elsick. They're looking for grants to restore the place. But all these things were clearly swirling around in my mind. An anxiety dream. Is that what Joseph's having? An anxiety dream about what to do. He's found out that Mary is expecting, not what was planned. And suddenly he has to think, what am I going to do? And it says he's still considering these things when he has the angel visit him in a dream. Or is it something else? I mean, we'd say, well, surely it's a dream sent by God. The angel comes to him and communicates with him this message. But what is the message actually he is communicating with Joseph? See, it's very interesting the way it's written. It says, before they came together, she was found to be with child from the Holy Spirit. Now, is that what Joseph was told? Was Joseph told she's expecting a child from the Holy Spirit? And you wonder what would go through his head if he were told that. Or does he simply know she's pregnant. And it's really interesting then how the angel tells him. I try to read it very neutrally, but there are different ways in which you can read this line. Joseph, son of David, do not fear to take Mary as your wife, for that which is conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. Or is it, Joseph, son of David, do not fear to take Mary as your wife, for that which is conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit? In other words, is it confirming something that he already has an inkling of? Is it that he has a hope that even though, well, the child is not his, that this child is from the Holy Spirit, and that this child is the one who is to come, that this child is the one predicted in the prophecy that we heard in Isaiah in the first reading and is mentioned again at the end of the Gospel. So in other words, Joseph's dream might be to do with a worry as to what he must do, and a hope, an aspiration that the child to be born is someone extraordinary. Of course, we just don't know. All we have are the lines of the Gospel. Jesus, of course, comes in this extraordinary way to be a sign of all things being possible to God. Jesus comes in an extraordinary way as a sign to show that God intervenes in human history and does not need human beings to do what is normal in conceiving a child. Joseph is called to make a decision what to do about Mary, what to do about the child. He will take Mary home to be his wife. He will name the child as his own. He does the right thing. He listens to this dream, which is about expectation and hope, as well as putting him on edge. I suppose it's to make us think about those decisions that we have to make, choosing the right path, and to have that dream of hope within our hearts. It's not easy in our world when things at times can seem hopeless, whether it's what we see on the international front, the wars, the troubles, the violence that seems to surround us. It's not easy when we have our own troubles, whether it's to do with money or sickness, family problems, whatever it might be. It's not easy. And I think a gospel like this is an invitation to trust. Joseph trusted the message. Joseph trusted the invitation to follow God's plan. He made the right choice. We're called to try and do likewise. I haven't had an anxiety dream at least a year.